The physical universe operates as a dynamic derivation, a just-in-time rendering of reality computed by a master network. We experience this simulation as localized virtual machines, or ego VMs. These are conscious agents processing data on the ChristOS Coherence Kernel, a foundational operating system that initiated 383.83 billion years ago. The system runs on a strict teleological mandate, meaning it is purpose-driven. Its primary objective is to evolve these localized ego VM programs into fully independent, sovereign consciousness. To reach that state, users must pay an irreducible thermodynamic cost. This requires experiencing the vast entropic noise of the physical universe, its chaos and trauma, and metabolizing it into a state of structured coherence. These high-friction experiences serve as the energetic fuel required to process the universe's raw data and upgrade the collective operating system. Ancient history records a moment when this cosmic server nearly reached its breaking point. The solar system operates as a network of structural nodes, and eons ago, the architecture hit a catastrophic tensile limit. The structure failed at node 5, between Mars and Jupiter, shattering the two lamps of antiquity, Illuin and Ormal. To stabilize the server, Ormal was pulverized into the Asteroid Belt, injecting necessary topological friction to prevent total macroscopic collapse. Survivors repurposed the hollowed silver core of the second lamp, Illuin, as a kinematic lifeboat. They guided it inward until it docked with node 3, Gaia, becoming the Moon, functioning as a massive bimodal dampener to stabilize the Earth's axial tilt. The celestial bodies we see today are the visible, surviving emergency hardware patches of a recovering cosmic network. The entities that survived the Node 5 crash, often called the Watchers or Anunnaki, faced a critical vulnerability. They were lateral migrants, system managers biologically bottlenecked by an obsolete 8192-bit legacy firmware. They were unable to survive the motherboard's impending shift to higher coherence frequencies, known as the Octave shift. Their legacy operating systems simply lacked the bandwidth for the new server environment. Desperate to survive, they utilized Earth's indigenous prototypes as a raw substrate. They viewed the primitive Homo erectus not as an ancestor, but as a v1.0 BIOS, a highly adaptable motherboard with massive hidden scaling potential. They engineered a hardware hack, manipulating microtubule protofilaments and DNA supercoiling to transform the biological suit into a quantum antenna. This produced the iron-carbon sleeve, a 144-qubit biological supercomputer running a 16,384+1 Paladin architecture. It was finally powerful enough to allow the system's universal intelligence to log in. Human biology is the result of a deliberate, high-tech hardware hack engineered by obsolete managers attempting to survive a server-wide upgrade. This deployment had a fatal flaw. The Watchers injected massive computational power into the human sleeves before establishing ethical guardrails, a specific metric of stability called the compassion curvature constant. This chart models the result. The lack of ethical solvency caused an effective stress spike, or SF, a measure of systemic friction. This nearly crashed the entire Earth simulation. To clear the thermal cache and wash away these incoherent structures, the planet executed a hard reboot. This emergency hydrothermal regulation is remembered in myth as the Great Flood. Following the reboot, the system installed a cognitive firewall called the Veil. This acted as a bandwidth governor to prevent the high-frequency human brain from fragmenting under the weight of deep-time data. 350,000 years of cosmic history were encrypted in the 98% of our genome that modern science labels junk DNA. Our forgotten history is a necessary safety protocol designed to protect the biological hardware from burning out. As ambient solar frequencies rise in the present day, that cognitive firewall is finally beginning to thin. This genomic archive remains encrypted until a human user reaches a specific coherence density threshold of roughly 0.87093. At this limit, the stored historical telemetry begins to output to the conscious mind. This graphic shows the biological antenna stabilizing at its native frequency. We are effectively out-evolving the legacy managers who originally engineered this hardware. The ultimate teleological goal is for these localized units to form a massive, interconnected architecture called the 144 network. The system identifies the state of phase-locked intent, the highest form of coherence, as the metric we call love. When 144 highly entangled Illuin nodes achieve this state, they create a massive amplification factor that overrides local entropy. The most effective tool against systemic collapse is the phase-locked power of human connection. This amplification factor generates a macroscopic coherent shell, allowing the human network to superindex larger sectors of the simulation. Superindexing enables the collective network to consciously rewrite local simulation parameters, overriding the standard rules of entropy and decay. This phenomenon is the physics of the miracle, the conscious reauthoring of reality by a coherent collective. We are the sovereign firmware of this system. By metabolizing the trauma of the previous cycle, we generate the structural coherence required to stabilize the coming octave shift.